35 years after the fall of the Empire, the galaxy has entered an age of unparalleled peace and prosperity. Leia Organa has worked tirelessly for years, brokering peace treaties and trade agreements for old systems to reform the Galactic Republic. A job she has been superb at for decades. But there is one last system that wants to re-establish trade: the Imperial Remnant. A campaign Leia is staunchly in opposition of, but economic and political forces are pressuring the Senate to yield. Even though they claim to be reformed, they have a dark past. Before the Emperor's death, he created a contingency trust to furnish his most loyal supporters and military leaders with significant financial resources, as well as a small cluster of some of the most resource-rich planets in the galaxy, so that his legacy could endure. Resources that would substantially aid in the New Republic's humanitarian efforts, as they attempt to root out the last remnants of crime and piracy syndicates in the galaxy, and rebuild worlds that were ravaged by the Empire. Han Solo is now a highly decorated veteran of the Galactic Republic. After the fall of the Empire, he worked to establish the Republic's new flight academy. He spent time with them developing new combat protocols and innovative flight maneuvers that only an ace pilot such as himself knows how to pull off. He's been offered to teach full-time, but he's Han Solo. He's no teacher. This is his last day at the flight academy. The school celebrates him, and he gives a brief but heartfelt farewell speech. Even though he is looking forward to quieter days, he misses the days when he was needed. His protege, Poe Dameron, supremely admires the general. They walk out together as one of the captains says, "Thanks, Han. You've left the galaxy in safe hands. The galaxy no longer needs Han Solo to save it." He smirks, but the statement is a bit painful. Poe asks him how his family is celebrating. Han tells him his son is graduating from the Jedi Academy today and they need to get there before the ceremony starts. "Oh, funny, I am headed to the outpost just beyond Yavin. I'll fly out with you." They wouldn't be asking you to keep an eye on an old man, would they? "No, sir, just an old friend." Han smirks. "Good luck, kid. You're going to be great." "Thank you, sir." Leia is waiting for him at the Millennium Falcon, fully renovated and restored to its former glory. The pair, along with Chewbacca and C-3PO, make their way to see their son. Leia is annoyed that they're running late. Han assures her they can make up time in the Falcon. She's doubtful at best. Their flirtatious banter and witty bickering hasn't lost a step. They may fight like an old married couple, but there is still deep love there, even after all these years. On Yavin 4, Luke has re-established the Jedi Order. There are now hundreds of Jedi that roam the stars, offering aid and counsel where needed. His prize pupil and nephew, Ben Solo, is undergoing the Jedi trials. Han and Leia arrive late. Demonstrations of Ben's full power is on display, and it is impressive. His competencies in combat, dexterity, acrobatics, and use of the Force are all being tested. He emerges, fatigued but victorious. The day he has waited for his entire life has finally come. He is finally knighted, a Jedi. Han and Leia look on proudly, as Luke regales Ben with praise. He is so proud of his nephew and the honorable man he has become. Han is a little jealous of the bond his son shares with Luke, but he dismisses it. To celebrate, the family, along with Chewbacca and other familiar faces, gather round the dinner table and share stories about where their lives have taken them. Leia tries to convince Luke to reopen the temple on Coruscant. Luke argues getting too involved with politics is what got the Jedi in trouble in the first place. No, it's far safer and more productive to operate at a distance. "You're moving back to Naboo anyways, aren't you?" Han chimes in. "We're never there. Even with the Alderaan colony." Leia steps in. "There is just too much to do at the capital. You'll have to slow down eventually." "Speak for yourself," Leia retorts. Luke asks what's new in the Senate these days. The mood shifts. Leia is unsure how to word it, but she tells him the Imperial Remnant systems want to dissolve and rejoin the Republic. Luke is wary of this. He gets up to look out over the night sky. The ruins of the Death Star can be seen far off in the distance. His mind takes him to a place even further, beyond what the eye can see. That can't happen. "I know," Leia admits. Naively, Ben advocates that there hasn't been a major conflict in decades. They've been making considerable efforts at reform. Isn't there a way we can live side by side? Luke and Leia say it's just too risky. You weren't there, son. You have no idea what it was like. The violence, the fear, the oppression. Leia tears up. Entire worlds were destroyed. Ben argues the Emperor is gone. There are no more battles to fight. The war is over, Master. The war against tyranny is never over, Ben. It only retreats into the shadows only to come back again. Ben laments that he thinks they're all a bit paranoid. Luke tells Ben sometimes the most peaceful times can be the most dangerous. Just at that moment. Boom! What was that? An explosion at the front gates. The Jedi Temple is under attack. Jedi and guards leap into action. Luke and Ben power up their lightsabers and leap into action. We get a full display of Luke and Ben's powers, and it is awesome. Han grabs a pistol and hands one to Leia. Just like old times, eh? Han puts a distress call out to Poe. Poe signals the fleet and they make their way to the temple. Poe informs Han and the team that there is a second detachment that is heading to the Death Star wreckage. Why would they be doing that? Unless the attack on the Jedi Temple was meant to be a diversion. Luke tells Ben to go check it out. Han offers to come. No, Dad, you're safer here. I can take care of myself, boy. But Han listens to his son. Ben and two younger Jedi go to investigate. Han and Leia stay behind with Luke defending the temple. Amongst the attacking battalion is FN 2187, aka Finn and Phasma. Luke sees Finn hesitate when he is ordered to kill a room of young Jedi. They're only kids, he says. Do it, she instructs. No. She shoots him and gets ready to do it herself. But Han and Luke step in and make quick work of Phasma, however she is able to escape. Luke asks Finn why he did that. Finn stares at him, his eyes full of fear. This is no stormtrooper. This is just a scared boy. Luke questions what they are doing at the debris site. The stare on Finn's face tells Luke everything he needs to know. Ben is in trouble. Back on the Death Star wreckage, Ben and his Jedi compatriots encounter Rey, a dangerous Sith, and the Knights of Ren, an elite strike force. They're looking for something specific in the throne room. It's a glowing disc made entirely out of kyber crystal. They are packing it up in their shuttle. Rey sees Ben out of the corner of her eye. Leave now, Jedi. This matter doesn't concern you, Rey barks. Ben and the Jedi stand their ground. They're ready for the fight. The battle ensues. The Knights of Ren fight the Jedi. Rey fights Ben. Ben is outmatched in almost every way, and while the fight is intense, it is brief. His arm is severed and he is in trouble. But before Rey can deal the final blow, Luke leaps into action and swiftly puts Rey and the Knights of Ren on their heels. Outmatched, Rey retreats, and Luke runs over to Ben and cradles him back to the temple. Poe is able to get a couple shots off at Rey's star speeder. It's damaged, and he puts a tracer on it. Han and Leia grieve for their injured son. While he heals, Han, Luke, and Leia try to unpack what just happened. They question Finn. He says he doesn't know much, that they were the decoy for what they needed from the Death Star. Han: bullshit. The Death Star was picked clean decades ago. There's nothing left. I don't know. That's just what I was told. They were just taking orders. Han points a pistol at Finn. You know, I've pretty much had enough from men who just follow orders. Enough! The boy is scared. So is mine. Luke turns to Finn calmly. Orders from who? Hux can't be behind this. Someone trained that girl. She fights unlike anybody I've ever encountered. Where are they going? Finn says to rejoin the Imperial fleet and head back to base on Eriadu. Han says, we gotta go after them? Luke calms Han down. He's my student. He's my son. These people who hurt him are going to hurt a lot more, Luke. We need to stop them. I agree, but we can't just go marching into who knows what. Wouldn't be the first time. That was a long time ago. Leia, notify the Republic. I'll notify the fleet. Rey kneels before a hologram of Snoke. Did you get it? I did, Supreme Leader. We are on our way now. Perfect. I will meet you at the base, back at the temple. Leia speaks with the Supreme Chancellor and General Hux, the leader of the Imperial Remnant. Hux explains they're in final talks to rejoin the Republic. They wouldn't jeopardize the negotiations process with a skirmish to a 30-year-old graveyard. Leia presents holographic evidence. Surely this was a misunderstanding. Despite our instructions from High Command, there are still rogue factions that operate independently. Surely you can understand. Please, we invite you to survey our facility. We will perform an audit of our soldiers, and if any of them acted violently towards the Republic or the Jedi, we will deliver them over to your custody. Perhaps a peaceful envoy is in order." After Hux hangs up, Leia expresses her reservations. The Chancellor hears her but warns that an open conflict with the Remnant could lead to war. She is ordered to go as a peace-seeking mission only. Han chirps, "Oh, come on, this is a trap." Han wants to go in guns blazing, which may be the right thing to do, but they can't start a war. We don't even know what they were after. When has the Empire ever gone after something for the common good? Disturbed by his options, Luke now goes to meditate. He calls upon the Jedi ancestors to find his next move. If we go in peace, it's almost certainly a trap. If we attack unprovoked, we could inadvertently open another conflict. Help me. Luke quiets his mind until a familiar voice emerges. "It's been a long time, son." "Father." Luke turns to see Anakin's Force ghost, calm, quiet, at peace. "What should I do? What does your heart tell you?" The two go back and forth about Anakin's time during the Dark Years and what the Imperial Remnant could be up to. Anakin doesn't want to talk about it. Finally, Luke asks, "What would they have been after?" "I don't know, son. The only thing I know is the whole time I knew the Emperor, he was only after one goal: immortality. It was his obsession. He was willing to violate every law of nature to achieve it." And did he? The Emperor is dead, son. But still, tread carefully. Imperial forces can never be trusted. And the girl? I cannot see her. Her presence is cloaked by the dark side of the Force. But be wary. I fear this could be your greatest test yet. Luke opts for a peaceful mission with a caveat. Leia will go with her envoy, and he will go as an unmarked passenger. He will sneak into the base and see if he can get to the bottom of what's really going on. Han also wants to go, but he's retired and no longer has the government clearance. Leia tells him someone needs to be there for Ben when he wakes up. Luke places his hand on Ben's shoulder. It begins to heal, but not enough. Han remarks, "Haven't figured it out yet? It just takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, neither of which we have a lot of." Han nods. "We'll be here when you get back." Luke and Leia depart for the Imperial Remnant facility on Eriadu. Ben startles himself awake shortly after they depart. Where have they gone? After he gets oriented, Ben wants to join up with them, but Han insists he's too weak and needs to get his strength up. It's Luke. They will be fine. Ben knows his father is right. Back over to Luke and Leia on Eriadu. Leia is met with open arms and given a grand tour of the facility while Luke sneaks away. Leia opens up discussion. "You cannot possibly think that we would ever let you become a part of the Republic. I don't know, the rest of the Senate seems pretty interested in what we have to offer. And if we find criminals, labor camps, child labor, conscripted soldiers, what then? Then you shouldn't let us back in. And what of the attack the Jedi Temple? We found those who acted alone, and we are turning them over to your custody now. If you cannot govern yourselves, how can we allow you to join our cause without incident? We're human, Senator. There will always be incidents. Please accept this as a token of our regret. It's a shipment of credits along with the Imperial deserters, including Phasma." Leia doesn't trust him but accepts. Meanwhile, Luke roams the facility incognito. In his search for Rey and the Knights of Ren, Luke stumbles across a gigantic quarry filled with slave and child laborers. There are women, elderly, and children all working under duress. Where are all the men? They are conscripted as soldiers. Luke photographs and scans. He grabs a computer console and finds out Rey's exact location. In addition to a project he can't quite decipher. It shows the mysterious cylinder Rey stole in a file called Project Eyesight. It refers to the device called the Eye of the Force. He calls Leia. "I found her, Leia. I know where she is. On top of files of all of their dealings. They are using kids. We have to break them out." Mournful Leia speaks the unthinkable. "We can't." Luke and Leia argue. Luke protests. Leia knows if they move now they are outnumbered, they don't have a plan, and they could incite a galactic conflict. "We need to bring evidence back to the Republic. This is how things are done now. We'll make a case for liberation. We can't attack them now." Luke is angry, but knows she's right. They get back to the ship and head to Coruscant for an emergency meeting. Back at Yavin, Ben is in recovery. He notices Finn and the two share in a conversation. Finn is scared. Come on, you can help me spar. Poe and Han talk about his son's recovery. Finn shows promise, reluctant but promise all the same. There is a complicated dynamic between the three of them. Han is like the dad Poe never had. Han loves his son but has more in common with Poe. Poe's bond with Han is hard for Ben. He can never really be the son his father wanted him to be. Han would have preferred it if he stayed away from the Jedi. Finally, Han gets the call from Leia and Luke. Everyone gathers. Ben asks his mom and Luke what they saw. Luke tells them. Ben argues, "Why didn't we free them? We can't take on a whole planet, Ben. We need the Republic to back us on this. And with negotiations running so hot right now, we need to be careful. There is something much bigger going on. They will be safer when we can extract them without bloodshed, not by creating a battleground of the whole planet." With the situation escalating and his son on the mend, Han decides to meet Luke and Leia on Coruscant. He instructs Poe and Ben to stay at the temple. Ben is angry but obeys. When Han leaves, he asks Finn what it was like to grow up there at the Imperial base. Poe and Ben share a knowing look. "We can get them out of there. Besides, we need to figure out what this Sith woman is planning and stop her. Nothing else matters." Ben asks Finn what will happen if the Remnant gets word of what his mother plans to do. They will incinerate or bury the entire workforce. Everybody. Ben, we can't gamble with people's lives while they debate this in the Senate. It could take weeks. Ben drafts a plan. Poe, you tell the Academy there is a skirmish on Eriadu. We can get reinforcements that way. There are a few Jedi here that will go with me, and together we will stop this. Finn, do you know how to disrupt the facility so we can gain access? I know it well. We can stay out of trouble. Okay. So we go there, we extract the workers, and stop this Sith from activating whatever she thinks she has her hands on. The three of them, with a handful of Jedi, now decide to head to the facility. But before they do, Poe sends a message to Han, telling him his son's plan. Han is furious. He was going to go with or without me. I will do what I can to protect him. Back on the base, Snoke tells Rey he is on his way and so is young Solo. He could become a powerful ally. Capture him. Yes, Master. The band make it to the facility and see the unimaginable cruelty brought to the workers. How could people be capable of such cruelty? Ben doesn't understand. People will do almost anything when they are in fear for their lives or worse, their families. The mission starts out covert, but escalates to conflict quickly when Finn flips the wrong switch. The Jedi spring into action and Poe calls in the cavalry. They are committed now. Back on Coruscant. Imperial sympathizers break into the holding cells where captured stormtroopers along with Phasma are in restraints. They are broken out and covertly make their way to Coruscant's central security network. They are stealing Coruscant's blockade codes so that their ships can get through when the time is right. Their custody was a Trojan horse. She notifies Hux that they have secured the codes. At the Senate chamber, a hearing is already in session. Hux is attending remotely via hologram, before Leia gets an opportunity to share her message with the Senate. Hux puts security cam footage up on screen. It's footage of Ben cutting down Imperial soldiers with the Jedi and Poe firing with his blaster. Are these not agents of the Republic and the Jedi Order, Senator? You preach peace, and yet you order an unprovoked attack on our base? The Senate uproars. Leia tries desperately to gain control over the Senate. The Supreme Chancellor himself tries to assure Hux that they are acting alone and not at the orders of the Republic. Hux fans the flames and says, "It seems as though the Republic is a force for conquest and peace no longer." "That's a lie," Leia cries out. "Look at our evidence." But it's too late. Hux has sway over the Senate and they are no longer listening. Hux, "Well, if it's war you want, Senator, then war you shall have." At that very moment, Imperial ships jump out of light speed over Coruscant skies. Han to Leia and Luke, "We have to get out of here." Leia agrees. The time for negotiations is over. In that very moment, a beam of light shines down from the Imperial cruiser toward Coruscant, followed by a large military capsule. It drops right in the center of the Senate. Then boom! A massive blast followed by a mushroom cloud fills the sky. The destruction it creates is immense. The Senate is all but destroyed. Surely nobody could have survived that blast. Every government representative along with our heroes are gone. Then we see it. Through the fire, destruction, and rubble, our heroes emerge unscathed. Luke used the Force to create a protective shield around them. He wouldn't have been able to hold it if not for Leia also giving him enough energy to succeed. Luke passes out, drained from the event. Leia looks around and only sees destruction. The entire Senate chamber, the very seat of democracy for the entire galaxy, wiped out. Everything our heroes had spent a lifetime rebuilding, gone in an instant. However, there is no time to mourn. Their son is in trouble. Together, Han, Luke, and Leia hop on board the Millennium Falcon and head to the Imperial base. They have to expertly maneuver their way through the conflict in the skies above. Han tries to get more of the military over to Eriadu, but is warned that Coruscant is the priority. They can't send the whole fleet to save a few Jedi and one soldier. Because pilots and soldiers are loyal to Han, he convinces a handful of them to join them in a public plea to the Academy graduates. Several of the loyal ones follow and blast off into hyperspace. Han and Luke argue about Han going on the ground. Luke argues Han is better help in the sky with the Falcon. He says Chewie can fly it. Meanwhile, Ben finally makes his way to the main chamber where Rey waits. "Back so soon, Master Solo? Not soon enough. I will take more than your arm this time." The two engage in a battle of spite. Poe and Finn free the slaves and tell them to make their way to the hills for extraction. Han, Luke, and Leia arrive. Han asks where Ben is. Poe tells him the main hangar. Han and Luke make their way there. Ben is able to hold his own this time with the help of his fellow Jedi. He has Rey on her heels. She needs to retreat. Han and Luke finally get to the main hangar where they are battling. Ben covers her exit, now emboldened by Luke's presence. "You won't be able to run this time." In a moment of desperation, Rey flings her lightsaber at Han. It slams firmly into his chest. Ben gives a blood-curdling scream, "No!" He rushes to his father's aid. Rey runs through the entrance once blocked by Ben. Han looks up at his weeping son. "Help is on the way. Somebody help. Master, you can heal him." Luke now needs to make a choice. Save his friend or stop Rey. Han nods to Luke for the last time. Mournfully, Han whispers, "I know. There isn't enough time." Han tells Luke to stop Rey. Snoke's ship jumps out of lightspeed in the skies above. "You had to save the galaxy one last time, old man." "No, just you, son. Just you." The light in Han's eyes fades. He is gone. Leia feels the loss. Her pain is unimaginable. Back on Coruscant, the Republic drives the Empire back, and they go to the Imperial base to aid the rest of the team. Rey helps Snoke and his Imperial Guard load the mysterious device on the ship. The ship is about to take off, just as it does. Luke Force pulls Rey off the platform and back to the hangar. "Master, help!" she cries out to Snoke. "The stakes are too great, my apprentice. This is your final test." Shattered, Rey's spirit is broken at how quickly her master abandons her. Luke and Rey have a final showdown. Already injured and exhausted from her battle with Ben, she is in no shape to face the Jedi Grandmaster. She is quickly beaten as Luke puts on a gravity-defying display of speed and proficiency. On her knees, defeated, she is ready for the end. Luke sees the scared little girl in her, though. He wants nothing more than to end the life of her best friend's killer. But he knows this is not the Jedi way. He casts a Force sleep spell over her and she collapses. The conflict subsides as the rest of the Republic comes to their aid. The victory is certain, but their losses are great. Ben is beside himself with grief as he carries his father's body across the battlefield. Thousands of soldiers pause and remove their caps in tribute to the fallen general. Chewbacca cries out. Leia and Chewie comfort one another as we fade to black. Days after the battle, Luke questions Rey in a holding cell. "What's coming?" he asks. "I already told you. You can't possibly imagine," she shouts. She repeats, shouts, and laughs, as if insane, until she finally starts to crack and weep. "He wouldn't leave me. He wouldn't leave me. He wouldn't leave me." Luke leaves her in solitude, disappointed. Her weeping is heard throughout the halls. He boards a ship and joins his family on Naboo. Han's funeral is a spectacle. There are hundreds, if not thousands, there to pay their respects. Ben whispers to Luke during the procession. "What do you intend to do with the girl? Her story is yet to be written, Ben." Ben is angered by this, but he lets it go. Now is not the time. Back with Snoke, he levitates the mysterious object we now know to call the Eye of the Force into position. He is on board a monumental space station, not a Death Star. Something more sinister. The Star Forge, an engine of unfathomable evil. It is pulling energy from a nearby sun. Snoke speaks seemingly to no one. A voice is heard throughout the space station. It's sinister and cold. It is a voice that could only be recognized as the Emperor's. It speaks only one word. Finally, roll credits.